Okay.
And a hand clap will do that because it makes a waveform blip in the.
Oh.
You know the waveform?
I do, but I understand what you're saying.
So, you know, the thing that looks like this,
I get it.
That's your waveform.
I get it.
Makes a spike,
I know exactly what you're saying.
as you go frame by frame when her hand comes together.
Wow.
Spike and line it up with that.
Can I do that? Can I do that the next time like Netflix fucks up? Tell Netflix and TikTok to get on that wave because sometimes that shit don't add up. You be talking and then the shit look like this and shit don't add up and shit. You be like, the fuck is going on? I don't know. Yanetza, are we recording? Are we recording, babe? Okay. Can I get quiet on the set, please? I always wanted to say that. Hey, yo. Fellers. I'm going to do my intro now. Which camera is best? This one, Yanetza? This? Okay. So welcome to another episode of Unsexed, and I appreciate all of you tuning in tonight. It's a little bit of a trigger alert. I got to let you guys know, this season 2, I told you guys I was bringing something new, different flavors, and tonight we're bringing some heat. But I just want to inform everybody that this is an episode where we're going to tap on something that I feel is very, very important while we talk about sex, intimacy, relationships. So I just want to advise people, this is something that may be a little difficult to watch, but I implore you to stick through until the end. My guest tonight has something very special that he's going to talk about, something that needs to be heard loud and clear globally. So I hope you guys enjoy this show, but I just wanted to let you guys know in advance. It's a little bit of a trigger alert, so grab some tissues if you need to. Tune in. I appreciate you guys being here tonight. Unsexed.
This episode is brought to you by Jack's Cleaning Services, LLC. With over 12 years of service and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, there's no job too big or too small for Jack's Cleaning Services. Located in New London and servicing all of southeastern Connecticut, Jack's Cleaning offers a variety of services. From office buildings and restaurants to homes and apartments, Jack's Cleaning Services is the right choice for all your cleaning services. They even offer a COVID-19 deep cleaning and sanitation service. People, springtime is here, and it's time to schedule that deep cleaning service you've been meaning to do. Contact Jack's Cleaning Services, LLC at 860-303-6700. That's 860-303-6700. Or visit them on the web at www.jackscleaningservicellc.com. That's Jack's Cleaning Services, LLC, a female-owned and operated business.
So guys, welcome to another episode of Unsexed. We're in season 2. It's been a journey. It's been a journey.
Congratulations.
Thank you. This is my guest, Edwin. Welcome so much. And thank you so much for coming and sitting on the purple sofa.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think that, I think what we're going to bring to the people tonight, it's unique to, the typical subject that I think people are used to, but it's a necessary conversation.
Indeed. Yes.
So what do you what do you do for work?
Currently, I drive truck at night, but I have my own wood shop company business.
What's it
that
called?
Started off as a ID&B Customs. It started as a hobby 3 years ago, and all of a sudden, it's not a hobby anymore. So
I've seen some of your work. So there was a guy who was like, he's got like hundreds of thousands of followers on TikTok, and he shouted you out. And I saw that where you made that Boricua, that one like very customized woodworking piece, and it was beautiful.
Thank you.
It was. I like the craftsmanship. So my grandfather and my father were both woodworkers. My grandfather used to have a shop downtown New London, right on Bank Street, that was called Woods. And he did a lot of the customized pieces similar to like what you do. So when I saw that, like, it was like very nostalgic for me, but then you can also tell like the craftsmanship and like it's the quality of the work. It's not something that was mass produced. This was like a one of a kind piece.
Yes, it's meant to be one of a kind because I like everything I make. I want somebody to have that they only have it. I always put a personal detail that, it just makes it one of a kind.
Tell them about the piece. What was special about this gentleman's piece that you did for him?
Oh, he left Puerto Rico a couple of years ago, and he wants to go back. He misses his island, so I ended up taking his town off of the island. I told him when he goes back, he can put it back in. So he got very emotional, and it was an interesting video.
I was touched by it when I saw that. Like I teared up, and I was like, that was really, really special. So when he says like he took it out, like literally he like used his tools and actually like where this man was. So the piece itself, it's in the shape of the island, and wherever this man's town was in relation to that, he actually carved it out. And took that piece, finished it up, and then gave that to him like as a separate piece to it, and said, when you go back, put it back. So it's almost like, and as I guess as I took that was as, you don't feel like you're whole right now. Yeah. So when you go back, put it in.
Your Puerto Rico is complete.
Yes.
That's how I meant that. Your Puerto Rico will be complete. And everybody on TikTok is right now, it's like, oh, I just want you to take this town off or this town off. So they want the same kind of detail.
I think that's beautiful. And he didn't ask you for that.
No, I wanted to tell a story and give a message, and I saw him online, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna send him a piece, because he has a lot of Puerto Rico stuff in his background, and I don't want nothing. I just want him to give men a certain, a message. And he did that.
Start the waterworks early, bro. Come on, man. But that's beautiful though. Like it was absolutely selfless. This man didn't seek you out.
No,
you
not
literally
at all.
just saw him, was following him on TikTok, and said, you know what, he's a good person. I just want to be good back to him. Yeah. And that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I applaud you for that, because that's special. That's special. When people go out of their ways just to make someone else feel good, like that's always something that makes me smile. And it truly does. It brings joy to my life when I see that there are other people who are just genuinely good people. You weren't expecting it. You weren't expecting him to do a whole video on it. You just saw a man who was very genuine in his message, and I follow him now. And you just decided you were going to give it back. I just
believe when you do that, it get reciprocated. It may not be immediately, but it always comes back somehow.
Karma's real.
I've been through it all, and I would have never been able to come back if I didn't have that type of karma, I guess. Mm-hmm. I've had the people that supported me, and, I can reach out, and, because, those type of relationships I try to have with people, even with strangers.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be surprised how strangers support you more than, I just hit a...
You're right.
Hit a nerve.
No, I mean, but I think that it's kind of a well-known thing, and I think anybody who's trying to come up in business, period, no matter what your business is that you find that a lot of people who are close to you will support you, but it's those medium in between people who tend to not. They either like throw shade or they kind of support when they, sort of kind of. But the strangers, they show a lot of love.
Focus on the people who do.
Mm-hmm. And that's my goal.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
You show love, I will 100% show it back.
Absolutely.
So where did you start? Like where did all of this come from? Like your love for, so my grandfather, for example, loved working with his hands. He was very articulate. Like, so even like the fine details of like, painting and then shellacking everything. Like he was very, very meticulous and he loved his craft. So where did all of that kind of start for you?
Well, I started the customization as you see now 3 years ago. It happened with an incident that happened with my son that made me reminded me of something that happened to me when I was younger. So when I was younger, I used to, live with my grandmother, and, there was a situation where I was, molested when I was a kid. And my defense was always, when the person came around, I would just go out to the back and pick up, a hammer and just start putting wood together. And it became a normal thing. That would be a place, my safe place. In reality, what it was is I wanted to have a hammer in my hand. It was kind of like a defense. It's a protection. And one of the things, probably the only thing I tried to always build was a go-kart. I remember making that go-kart. The only thing I could never find was wheels for it. But, and it was because my grandfather can leave in his car. If I build my own car, I can leave. It was kind of my thing. But then I stopped doing it altogether. In my teenage years, I didn't do nothing. And then I started working with wood when I got stressed out or whatnot. Now back to that situation with my son. He had a situation that, he had to deal with some emotional stuff, which we had to get him, seen and talked to. And the instance where they had just suggested, well, let's just put him on medication, immediately. There was no talk about, let's talk to him, let's see if there's something, he's dealing with something. So I found an issue with that, and having that issue, I had to fight for my son, so this wouldn't happen. But that being the case, I started thinking of my own past. So thinking of my own past, that's where all this woodwork started to come out, because, I'm stressed out, and it is what it is today. And right now I'm just trying to spread a message as a man that we go through these things, and, it's okay. It's okay to speak about it, find your way.
But this is something that is obviously it's carried with you throughout your entire life.
Absolutely.
And I feel like as a society, men are conditioned, especially in the Hispanic and Black communities. Men, you guys are kind of conditioned, no, don't talk about it, because if you do, then that automatically makes you gay, or you're afraid of the clapback that you'll get from your peers because it's something that you don't talk about. But as a child, and for me, this hits really close, because anybody who's known me, who follows me on any platform, children are everything to me, and protecting children is everything to me. So to know that there are young boys who are not protected and have not been protected, but who are essentially, as a society, are told to hold on to that, to put it in a closet, put it away, and we're not going to unpack that, it's detrimental to your mental health and your well-being, because there's only so much trauma that anyone can take before it comes out in a negative way, whether it's behaviors, it's substance abuse, violence. You're told don't talk about it, and you're almost shamed into not speaking about it. And I personally, I have a really big problem with that. And I think you being here right now and just kind of spreading that message of it's okay to talk about it, So as a teenager, how did that impact you, even behaviorally?
Well, back on what you just said, it's yes, we're taught as when we're younger to hold it in, not speak about it, but we are communicating it. We find our way to communicate it. Yeah. Either through the arts, through painting, through something. So us as parents have to be more aware of our children, and they are communicating. It's just, you just have to have the eyes and ears for it. My particular way was through music or poems. I used to write poems, and it used to be in there. I used to try to share it with my mom, or when I did a song, I brought it over here. When I came to New York, I tried to show my dad, and he had no time for it. So as a child, I tried, but the eyes weren't there. So the eyes and ears weren't there, and you can't entirely blame your parents for that, but
we have to be aware. You don't know what you're seeing, and you don't know what to listen for. I get that.
And that's why these community centers and these centers that work with children are so important, because they work with music, they work with the arts, and if you're paying attention to what they're singing about or what they're talking about, maybe you can find an icebreaker or somewhere you can relate to them.
I agree. So. I completely agree with that. When I worked with children for 7 years in a group therapy setting, and one of the greatest things that I found was when you give children an opportunity to express themselves through the arts, whether it is music, we would do drum circles, and it was literally all about emotion. So there were times where we would do a build up. So everyone was able to kind of pick their own, whatever instrument we had. And we had the bongos, and I had the cha-cha, what the hell is it called? I'm so
Maracas.
Bad right now. Thank you.
Maracas.
Yes, thank you. And then those. And I had drums of all sizes, and if you wanted to use your hand on the drum, you could, but then I also had, the sticks, so you could bang on them if you want to. I had all kinds of different instruments, and at one time I could have 20 kids in my circle, and we would do a build up where I start, and then the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and then we would literally go all the way around, and we have this drum circle going, and I would just let the kids kind of stew and marinate in that energy, and then I would do a breakdown. So literally we're going building from me and coming all the way around, and then coming all the way back with a breakdown, and then talking about that. What did that energy feel like? And we would always start off with these little, there was the little egg shakers, and it was a way for children to express without using words, how do you feel today? So for me, if I was high anxiety, I might have been and everybody around would go, and it was a way to create a connection without having to say and put a label on, I feel anxious today, because that can be very, very clinical and and while it is therapeutic, it can almost be too clinical for some kids who are just not ready to express themselves that way. So with the arts, I always found it to be very powerful to do that. I once had a child who was not able to say, I am mad because, I am sad because. But I did another workshop with him, and he was able to literally scribble a whole bunch of things. And he said, that's me when I'm mad. That's me when I'm sad. And I had his psychiatrist and his clinician in the room, and they're looking at me googly-eyed like, this kid's never said anything like this before. And I said, it's amazing what art can do.
Give them the tools.
Yes, you give them the tools, because talking is not for everybody. It's just not. You know, I might not be able to say to you, I'm mad because you did blah, blah, blah. But if you see me crying and you give me a crayon or a marker and a paper, I might be able to really express exactly how I feel in that moment. So, you know, I feel like I just need to say kudos to anybody out there who understands like the power of art. And, you know, obviously you do as well, whether it's, you know, music, writing, drawing, you know, whatever it may be.
I had couple of years in like 2004, I had a studio. It was my whole apartment. My landlord hated me. I gutted the whole thing. I made a studio where, you know, kids and people in the area can come and just record their music and just practice and just we call it Figz City Studios. And that idea came from my cousin, because he was a younger cousin and he was so far beyond his age. He wanted to have a music career so he can build a studio so kids in El Barrio can come and do music. Yeah. He told me this story, and that's when I first wanted to like talked about. But you know, I'm in the streets, and that's a whole different story. That was the first like I can speak to him, but I never got the chance because he was killed. Literally, maybe I think it was 2 months afterwards that we had this conversation. So he was killed in front of me, you know. So I held on to that, and when talking about how I felt when I was, you know, in my teens, I was very angry, confrontational. I was in the streets, and I didn't care about anything. So I kind of felt that was I blamed myself. So that's what gave me the idea for Figz City Studios. Okay. That's what is a promise, kind of like a promise I had made to him.
In honor.
You know, and it's incredible the things we talk about. You know, this is my home. I had literally in my whole house, I had a room. Everything else was a studio. People know what I'm talking about. And the conversations I would have with certain people, like, you know, they were just letting me through the arts was kind of like what he wanted, you know. And that's where I figured out is like, oh, this is what we need, you know. And that's why I love all these programs in the area that do that with children.
But you created that safe space. So it's like, you know, even going back to your childhood, you were able to create a safe space for people the same way you created that safe space for yourself. You recreated that. And I think, and this is just my personal opinion, but I feel like that was kind of the start of your journey towards healing, was being able to create a space where people could connect to trauma and expression, you know, because at the end of the day, what are the arts anyway? Like I write poetry and I do this right here, and it's all art. I mean, but you ask me to pick up a paintbrush, like I'll do something abstract. Don't ask me to like paint like something still. Like I mean, like I'm nasty with like a pencil, like I could shade some stuff, but like my sister's the artist of the family. My sister and my daddy, me and my mama. I mean, I could color within the lines, like in a coloring book. Like I can stay in the lines. That's about the extent I'm going. That's about the extent. But it's therapeutic. I have the adult coloring books. When I'm really stressed out, I put on my lo-fi music and I sit there and I color. And to hell with whoever the motherfucker was that decided he was gonna create that meme on Facebook that said, if the bitch got these adult coloring books, no, she crazy. Man, fuck you. Hold on. First of all, it's a coping mechanism, okay? It calms me down when I'm overwhelmed. I have ADHD. Like when I'm overwhelmed with life, which happens like, shit, my bitch is just sitting here looking, like literally laughing at me right now.
Knowing
like, why didn't
exactly
anybody tell me to go get my fucking coloring book today? The fuck? First, go get your coloring book and put it on your lo-fi. Take a sip of something, smoke something. Shit, bitch, calm down. I had a fucking day. But like coloring books, like that's my shit. Like I like my coloring books. Like, and I went through my own trauma as a child, like without a doubt I did. And I still feel like there's shit that has not been unpacked. but I'm not digging for it because and anybody who works within the counseling, therapy, psychiatry realm will tell you don't necessarily want to go poking a sleeping bear. So there's, when it comes to behaviors, there's very, very specific reasons why people live and do the things that they do. And for me, I'm like, you know what? There's probably a really like serious reason as to why like I do the things that I do. You know, I had one of my girlfriends ask me, she was like, but you really do, like, you enjoy talking about sex so much. And like, where did that come from? And I'm like, I don't know, but I don't poke that bear to want to figure out why. I knew that I knew what sex was by the time I was like 5 years old. I did. I knew what sex was by 5. And, you know, you can go onto social media nowadays and most parents would be absolutely horrified at the fact that you knew about sex at 5. Like, yeah, I was watching Disney movies and all that shit. It wasn't like I, you know, saw something on TV and was like, oh yeah, what's that? I don't know where it came from, but I'm not poking that bear either. And I really don't want to, because I almost feel like if I unpack that, I may not be who I am anymore.
Gotcha.
So I just leave it alone. And if some shit comes up, like, I know where to go. I'll get some help. I'll sort through that bullshit when I have to, when the time comes. But I'm not unpacking that. I don't even know what the fuck it is in there. You know, that I don't. We leave it alone.
I'm poking my bear. I'm poking that bear.
But you know what your bear is. Like, you know that motherfucker's a Kodiak. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's black, if it's white. Is it Antarctica?
Yeah.
Did it come from fucking Africa? Is it from South America? Is this motherfucker Aboriginal from goddamn Australia? Does it look like a kangaroo? I don't know what the fuck that motherfucker looks like. I ain't unpacking it. Just know I'm very comfortable. I'll sit here and we can talk about whatever we want to talk.
I want to unpack it because I know whatever, you know, what happened to me then, it dictated my future.
Yes.
My way of being, my not forgiving, being defensive, you know, that swing first before that person get close enough to hurt.
Yeah.
Or if you give me the hint, you know, that defense, that way of being can affect everything in your life.
It's literally that kill or be killed mentality of like, I feel like you're going to attack me, so I'm going to slit your throat before you have a chance. And
it's great when you're in the streets, but you know, I'm far past that.
Yeah.
You know, but I wanna understand why things were the way they were. You know, my part in how things, you know, transpired. You know, because that being unforgiving, that stuff, it does not help, especially somebody who deserves to be forgiven.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
So like even in relationships.
Yeah, it works in everything. In everything. So that thing of, you know, I don't want nobody getting close enough to be able to hurt me, you know, or if I let you come this close and you hurt me, that it's tough. And that comes from that trauma. And I understand that now. So I'm trying to figure it out and probably have to apologize to a lot of people because of it. You know, it's tough.
But I respect that, though, is that you know that there are people that you need to, and I've been very opposite of that, where you didn't let people get close enough. I would let the wrong people get too close. And it was and I know that it was out of a need for acceptance and to feel love. And that comes from my childhood of certain things, nurturing wise, that I just didn't get. So you try to find that nurturing, you know, component in friends, in other family members, in lovers, in really, really bad, toxic, sometimes violent relationships, letting the wrong people come in too close. So when you look at, you know, even teenage girls who are subjected to, sex trafficking, and they know who their trafficker is and they're being pimped out, but he cares about me. A lot of these kids come from very broken homes where they did not get that nurturing, caring support, and that's why they're turn
willing to trade that off.
Wherever I can get it, I'm going to get it from. And then you get a manipulative motherfucker who preys on things like that, and then that's what ends up happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all too real. I mean, Norwich, Connecticut, like there were sex traffickers out here. I was 15 years old, and you know, we had people that were around here who were you know, getting all the girls lit, and we were getting drunk, we were getting high, we thought that it was cool, whatever have you. And then all of a sudden, like, we're in New York because we were going on a shopping spree, and you know, this guy says to us like, oh well, I'm saying like, yo, we could get some money right now. if you let these dudes do boom, 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 like, yo, they'll pay you $4,000. Now, I'm not stupid. And I'm with my girl at the time, and she's still one of my best friends to this day. And we both looked at each other and we were like, we're really in deep shit. And our parents had no idea where we even were. Like, it was one of those, oh, I'm at her house and she's at my house, and slick shit, which is why I tell people all the time, like, my daughter's not going to get away with shit. Any of the teenagers who have ever worked with me before, no. I've done shit that I should have been killed for a long time ago. You're not getting away with shit. You're not doing it. But she and I, we looked at each other and we were like, we're really we are in real fucking danger right now. So we said, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we can think about it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, let's get this money. We came back and we were fucking out. Like, oh shit. Like, we were in Brooklyn, New York, and we really could have just disappeared, and nobody would have known where the fuck we were or where like, it's real. And that shit happened right here in southeastern Connecticut. And this was 20 years ago.
Just recently we had somebody, a rich dude get arrested for that. It's very
here.
Close. It's very close.
It's here.
It's everywhere. When I used to work with artists, we used to go talk with record labels all the time. It's a lot of funny shit going on in the record business. In that industry. And I had this one female artist, beautiful, great singer, and we was scheduling meetings, and it's like, oh yeah, just have her be extra nice with it. It's like, what is extra nice?
What the fuck does that mean?
Exactly, that little funny stuff. It's like, there's a lot of opportunities that I said no to because, I've seen that weirdo shit going on in the industry. Yep. And I didn't put any of the artists in that position. And this is my job. I shouldn't. But it's there. It's
safe
everywhere.
Spaces, though. You are all about safe spaces.
It's everywhere.
For one of you that is trying to create a safe space, I feel like you have. How many of them are trying to exploit?
Yeah, and it happens on the lower level too. Like I've seen, basement producers manipulating a woman who is being vulnerable with her music and just sliding his way in. Yeah. So it doesn't. You don't have to be at a different tier. It happens everywhere. You just have to have the eyes for it. But it's pretty sad. It's pretty bad.
It is. But I mean, this is why you can't trust people. This, that, and the third. And I guess I'm grateful that I was privy to it at such a young age, and then also grateful that I was smart enough to know, like, oh shit, I'm in danger. Now, I shouldn't have been, out drinking and smoking at such a young teenage age. But if you've known me since my teenage years, I was not an angel by any means. I still, to this day, I apologize to my mother for the hell I put her through. I was a wild child. I didn't listen. I was very defiant. I did not like authority. I wanted to do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. And like, there was a point in time where like my mom was like, I was ready to kick you out, but my mom, she didn't give up on me. And I was very lost, and disturbed is such a mild way to put that. I was disturbed. It's a nice way to say it.
See, I feel like my family didn't hear me, so I felt alone, and that's how I was forever. Alone. Nobody was hearing what I'm trying to convey, and maybe because I wasn't communicating it right or whatnot. I wasn't communicating at all. Through art, yes, but but I felt hurt. I was angry. I felt suicidal at some point. I felt like go out to the streets and just act reckless, and hopefully somebody wants to test me and get a few in. It's weird.
So you were angry?
I was angry, yeah.
I was angry, but I agree with you when you say that they didn't hear you. We were speaking. We were speaking. It's just, again, not understanding the language that we were talking.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I was angry. You were angry. We were out in the streets doing X, Y, and Z. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm screaming. It's literally like you feel like you're screaming at the top of your lungs, and nobody can hear you. Nobody can hear you. They don't understand.
I remember an instance. My mom, she walked in, and I was looking out the window, and I used to cut myself. Like it was a way of making myself feel pain that way, so I don't have to. Yeah,
it's an outlet. Yeah.
And then I remember she walked in on that, and she just yelled. There was blood on the wall, and she starts hitting me, and she was freaking out. But if for some weird reason, it felt better that she was hitting me. It made me feel better for some reason.
Because she was
weird.
showing you something. There was some kind of an emotion, and that was her way of showing you that she cared. And you didn't care how you received. But you look at women who are in abusive relationships, even men who are in abusive relationships. When you get hit, you're showing me some kind of an emotion. And whether you can tell me that you care, you love me, whatever have you, you're showing me some form of emotion. I'm getting something from you, and this is how I'm perceiving love and care.
That attention. Sometimes they trigger the wrong things just to get that attention, which actually would spark that. And like a couple years ago, my son, yes, the woodwork, but you know, I gave somebody the trust with my story and kind of using it against me because you're mad. You know, that goes deep. Yeah. And I wish I knew be able to forgive. You kind of try, but it always in the back of your mind, you know, it's tough, you know, trusting somebody, and then that just goes for everything you believe in. It's like, oh, you know, nobody can get close enough because they're going to hurt you, you know?
Yeah. When I was in high school, I remember my school social worker telling me that I had to stop verbally vomiting on people, because the minute that I felt like you were saying something that you knew was going to hurt my feelings, like if I felt like you were saying something that was insensitive and was going to hurt my feelings, I would take whatever it was, your deepest, darkest secret, and I would literally like smash it in your face. Oof. And like you might have been coming at me just and not even meaning to attack me, but I immediately would go for the jugular and try to slit your throat. Like it was like that kill or be killed. And so, you know, I'll slit your throat now, and after you're wrapped up and all that, and, you know, on an event, I might ask a couple questions after, but it was, I had to learn how to stop doing that, and understanding that people are going to say things to me in different ways. And sometimes I have to stop and think, who is talking to me? Who is this person? Are they coming from a bad place? Are they truly attacking me? And like that took years and years to develop. And I would think, like, even now at 35, I'm not a confrontational person. I can be very aggressive and passive aggressive with my words, especially when I'm very passionate about something, but I'm not hurtful, or not intentionally hurtful anyway. I know, I'm human, so sometimes, you know, shit comes off the wrong way, but I'm not intentionally hurtful. In my teenage years, I was intentionally hurtful. Yeah. I was going to say the worst possible thing that I could to you and make you want to jump off a bridge because you might have told me that my shoes were ugly and we couldn't afford anymore. So fuck you, go kill yourself was like my attitude, and obviously not okay. No. But, you know, it's a
consistency too. If somebody does it consistently, you know, it's tough to deal with this type of trauma, because how I was telling you earlier, how it connects to everything in your life, how you treat your loved ones, how you react to something. I'm very reactive. I'm just like you. It takes a little bit. It takes a lot for me to react in that way. But once I'm
it's over.
It's over.
It's over.
You know, and that's something that I need to work on. And you know, you try, but it's something I need to work on, and it has to do with dealing with my past, you know, be able to heal. And the only way I can I'm no expert in this, but I feel like I'm going to put myself out there. Maybe I can find healing in what you went through, and vice versa.
Absolutely.
And we can heal together. And that's what I want to convey, especially to men, that we don't normally talk about this stuff. And it needs to be, and you need to feel comfortable, because we are responsible for, and we can be responsible for any victims that come after that.
Yeah.
I try to confront the abuser, right? He's since passed away. I talked to his son, you know. He went through the same abuse. So I feel like if I would have said something about it, then again, I'm a child. Like, if I would have been able to say something, maybe I would have avoided his abuse. So now older, I'm feeling like I'm like guilty. Like, okay, I gotta do as much as I can now to make up for that. It's tough. It's tough to deal with that. You know, it's. I can only imagine. That's his son. How about anybody else after that? In between, you know. So it falls on me as a man. It falls on me. We're protectors, but that still falls on me.
his abuse didn't fall on you, though.
I know, but it's just
Your innocence was just as innocent as his innocence. And if there's anything that you take from this conversation, it's that, while you go on this journey, forgiveness of self
yes.
is huge. You are only responsible for what you do with the information that you have, the history that you have, your experiences. You are responsible for what you do with those, and that's all you're responsible for. So, I work with the kids that I work with. I work with bottom of the barrel kids who have been, emotionally scarred and severely abused. And they have psychiatric issues. And I laugh and I joke with people and I say, if you can't beat them, join them. But there is a certain level of connection that I get with these kids in understanding a lot of what they've been through. And, and that's not to say that I had a terrible childhood. No, but are there skeletons in the closet? Yeah, there are. But what I choose to do with that now is entirely up to me. And forgiving whoever did whatever in my past. And I, like I said, I'm uncertain of what happened to get me to where I am today. And I'll be completely honest, I'm not ready to unpack any of that. I'm not ready. I'm not. That's going to be one hell of a beast. And I don't trust anybody in my life right now to be that strong of a support to catch me when I fall. Because when I unpack that, I'm going to fall. And it's going to be hard. So I'm trying to still build that trust with the people in my life to say, when this happens, I've got this net. Because I think that one of the worst things that you can do is have to say, if nobody's got me, I've got me.
Yeah.
But what happens when you're in that space where I don't have me right now and I'm in a panic right now?
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. Everybody, people have asked me, it's like, how do you feel about being triggered? It's like, well, I have to go through it.
Yeah.
You have to go through the triggers. You can't just avoid it because I'm older now. You can hide it as long as you want. You can not talk about it as long as you want. You will have to deal with it at some point. And you will have to go through those things that trigger you. You're going to have to do it. And that's what I'm trying to do now, and meet with people that can understand. And like you said, most of the times it's people you don't really know personally, So I released this song right before COVID. It's called Docket Stories. And I had mentioned earlier, I wrote a whole script for artists to tell a story, street stories, and then this was also incorporated in that. But nobody could really relate to me because maybe I wasn't conveying the message. But I was frustrated. It's like, all right, I wanna put this out there. So I ended up writing my own song and recording it, and it comes from a lawyer's perspective of defending people who have been abused at home, in the music industry, in church, in immigration. There's a lot of cases within that song. That song, it's a 2-part song, and that was my only vehicle my way of communicating what I wanted to. And I didn't even get to my part of the story. That comes in part 2.
Where can they find this?
On YouTube.
On YouTube?
Yeah.
What are they looking up? Like if they throw it in
Docket
the search
Stories Part 1. Sorry.
DOCKET?
Yeah.
Docket Stories.
Docket, like it's
Court docket.
Court docket.
Okay.
Docket Stories Part 1, and it deals with, it's very triggering. It deals with sex trafficking, human trafficking, molestation, everything. So I am putting myself in the lawyer's shoes, even though I'm the one, I'm talking about myself.
Yeah.
In this story. It all connects. And when I released that, that's when I realized what I needed to do. And it's like basically confront this, head on. And it's tough.
I have to commend you on the amount of work that you're doing right now, internally, externally. The amount of healing in the process that you're going through right now to be at peace, and then to try to advocate for others who may not have that voice. You know, you didn't have that voice as a child, but to be able to advocate for other people who also don't have that, to be able to speak up and talk about that and get the help, you know, whatever that looks like, whether it's helping others and connections that way, or if you go and you decide you need to talk to, you know, a professional, to a therapist, whatever that looks like for them, but you're still creating the conversation and saying, no longer will I be silenced by this. I think it's very disturbing that, you know, as a man, you're told to be strong, be strong. You got to be the foundation. You got to be strong and hold in everything that's meant to tear you down. To me, that's not strength. You're literally creating a ticking time bomb.
Yeah, and you're trying to build up our community, you know, because we have a lot of men that are like that, and it affects their relationships with friends, their loved ones. You know, you may not know what he's going through, but he's just acting up, you know, and then you're fighting with him for something you don't know about.
Right.
So that's something that, if you knew what he's going through internally, if we would be comfortable talking about it, maybe there could be that middle ground of understanding. If you can understand, we can understand each other, we can grow. Right. You know, us as men, we're quiet. We don't say that. We don't talk about it. So we just take it. We just take, and that just adds up to the pain and the frustration. And like you said, it's a ticking time bomb, and it's tough. So that's what I'm trying to like make it feel like it's okay.
So where do you think it is, like, for women who you know are in these challenging relationships with you know, a lot of these men who are very closed off and may not want to talk about that? What are some of the things that you would say, hey ladies, you know, if this is what you see, this is how you support it? Like, does that make sense? I mean, I'm sure everybody's warning signs are different, but
yeah, you have to break that barrier of communication. Just know if there's a possibility, you know, it's not always about, you know, men being reserved or being angry, or just there can be something deeper. And if that's a possibility, you know, take that in mind before you react and snap at a man that may be going at something. And same for men. You know, women go through it also, and sometimes we don't understand, but women are more communicative, you know, with this type
we
of stuff.
can be, but I mean, but I've also been like on a date before, and you know, had somebody go to be like, oh, and I'm like, please don't. And I've had even like male friends who for whatever reason, something was triggered, and I'm like, please don't do that. Like, please don't touch me. Some of my viewers who I had never met face to face, approaching me in restaurants, coming up behind me and rubbing my back. I've been sexually assaulted before, so you have to understand that is so fucking uncomfortable to not know who you are. Now, granted, you're watching this show. I'm in your home right now. You're not in my home right now. I'm in your home though. So I understand that you have a certain level of comfortability, you know, towards me. I don't share that same sentiment with you. So to come up to me and say, oh, hey, how you doing? You could be the coolest dude on the block, but to not understand how triggering that can be, it's tough. And I feel like even as a woman looking at a man who may have gone through, you know, significant traumatic events, to think that he's just an angry person for no reason, since he might have gone through some things that you know nothing about.
Exactly.
So you can create that safe space for him and invite him to come in and share and be there with you. Or it just becomes like kind of a toxic environment where you're just like, you're going to argue and butt heads because it's not a safe environment for him, you know?
You have to be aware of the people you have around you, because you can't have, it's hard to have multiple people going through their own traumas, their own way, separately, and being able to grow as a couple or whatnot. So it's really tough, because you may be going through something one day and you could, you know, bark at me for something, and then I'm being triggered, and you know, it builds up when it comes down to something that we have to deal with as individuals before you can even think of being able to build as a couple.
Absolutely.
And that's the tough part. You know, sometimes we force ourselves to be in a position of, or, you know, my couple, this is my partner, you know, but you're not complete.
Right.
You can't be complete to give, you know, your partner or all of you if you haven't expressed all of you. So, and that goes both ways. It's tough.
But I think it's learning and growing in empathy.
Yeah.
Learning, growing in empathy, and understanding that, wow, for me, I have a really tough time being able to open up about like significant things that have happened in my past with my significant other. I can be very, very supportive to you. I can be very, very caring and understanding and woody woo. But then I'm not willingly giving information. Like I just don't do that. I have a tough time doing that. Right now, like currently, I'm working on not shutting down when I get into disagreements, especially if I feel like the argument at hand, if it's not going anywhere, I have a habit of shutting down, and I'm just like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it anymore. It's not going anywhere. I don't want to talk about it.
Need my space. Leave me alone. It might take days, but just leave me alone. I feel I'm the same way.
But I also have dealt with a partner who gets very frustrated with that because it's like, don't shut down on me, and I'm like, I can't. You're gonna have to let me shut all the way down, and when I'm ready to reopen, we can talk about it. It's not gonna be a week. It may not even be 24 hours. Just give me my space right now because I can't do this. But that's my trauma response to dealing with a narcissist and an emotional abuse in a relationship where I was not allowed to talk about how I felt because it was, they say like, okay, well, we're not going to beat a dead horse. I've been in a relationship where the horse was not only dead, we literally beat it into mulch and it was reincarnated as a tree.
Weekend at Bernie and just dropped them again.
Oh, it was so bad. But that's my defense mechanism now is I will argue my point. And not necessarily even argue. I'll state my point. We can have a disagreement about it, whatever have you. But if it turns into a fighting match, if it turns into an argument and we're raising our voices, I literally will just be like, I'm done. And then you get nothing from me. You'll get nothing.
See,
nothing.
I'll become quite confrontational. Like I'm asking for this space. I need this space. Okay, I don't want to deal with it. And then it's adding more to what I'm dealing with. It's about me.
You're not talking to me.
You're not talking to me. It's about, they can make it about them, and it's not about them. It's about, I need to just digest everything's going on so I can talk. But then it's just adding on. And it's just, my defense mechanism is just to be
bark.
Yeah.
Bark.
Barking back. And that doesn't help.
That happened where I asked for space and I said, I can't talk about this right now. And, partner became defensive about it, and he slammed my door. I was like sitting in the car, and he got upset. He slammed my door closed, like kind of like a fuck it, then we're not gonna talk. And I went from like, I don't want to talk, just let it go, and then it went automatically to I'll kill you, and to be taken out of character. I don't get angry like that anymore. I've moved beyond that anger phase of my life. But like that teenage rage came back of like, I'm going to black out, where I like was screaming. I was like, if I had a baseball bat, I would have busted all your shit out right now. And I pushed him. And I was like, whoa, like trigger everywhere. This is not okay.
Yeah.
This is not okay at all.
It puts all your senses on overload. Like when you're in your own space trying to deal with something, and then you're being thrown all these other things. You're just on overload, and you just can't. You just want to just stop. And you just
give me my minute.
Yeah, give me my minute.
Give me my minute.
Then, or you're nasty yourself, and you just it ends up making the problem bigger by not knowing each other's space. Or what they need.
Yeah, but I think it's also like an understanding of like, this is who I am. This is what I need. And if you care about me, please honor and respect that. And it's not a negative connotation. It's not nasty. I'm not turning you away. I just need you to give me a minute to digest what you're saying and how I'm feeling, and take into consideration what you're saying and how you're feeling, so that let me digest this for a second, because it's coming in too fast. Sensory overload typically equals rage for me. And it sounds like you're kind of on the same boat. Yeah, you get it. Cheers to that, bro.
Cheers.
Thanks for understanding.
I get it.
But it, like, again, the connection of, wow, somebody gets it.
Yeah.
Somebody gets it. And you inspire me to want to dive in to my unknown. But I'm gonna keep it real. I'm just not ready for that shit. I'm
I get it.
I'm not doing it.
I didn't think I was ready either, but I mean,
doing it.
I'm still not ready. I was kind of thrown into it also because I did Docket Stories with the mind, the song, with the mind that once I release part 2, that's when I released my part of what I want to say. But then when that TikTok video came out, he gave more information than I wanted. So, okay, he talked about me being abused as a child. He talked about me making a go-kart.
Oh, so he literally shoved you into the spotlight. And you're like,
and
shit.
And then the other lady, she saw the video and she saw the song. She did a song about it. She's got like 1 million followers. Again, thrown out there. So I'm like, all right, maybe that's where I need to be. I mean, maybe I'm being just gun shy of just coming out and just talking about it. So this is just life saying, nope, this is where you need to be.
My mama would have told you either shit or get off the pot. And it looks like somebody like literally gave you a laxative and said, go and sit your ass on down and go ahead.
There you go.
Do what you do your doo-doo. And then you're coming out and you're talking about it. So. And I applaud the people that saw that you had a message and used their platforms to help to create yours so that you could get that message out. And I feel so honored that you came and you sat down and like you talked about this and we talked about like what abuse from childhood looks like and being able to kind of share that message of it's okay to talk about it. You know, because what does it do to you? Like when you don't, we talk about violence. It just builds
you up. You just bottle it up and it comes out in like in either anger, drug abuse or anything. You know, you're just bottling it up if you just don't talk about it. And you have to. Yeah, you have to. And it's so liberating too, because I feel better, even though I'm scared shitless still. Like, I kid you not, I call you a few times like, yo, help me figure this out, because I'm having anxieties right now. It's like, but whatever, I have to go through it. It's just nothing. Just go through the fire, because the other side is gonna be better.
But I wouldn't let you get burned.
Huh?
I wouldn't let you get burned.
No, I know.
I wasn't gonna let you.
But it's just an anxiety thing. It's not something that, even through the anxieties, I would have done it. It's just that first step. Even though I didn't make the first step was made for me. Yeah. But it needed to be done.
You contemplated it.
Oh yeah,
you acknowledged
absolutely.
that you went through something. You contemplated it. You gave enough to somebody out there where they heard what you said and said, "Go, go." It's like a fear of flying. I got these wings. Okay, I know they work, but that looks really far. It looks really far, and it looks, and somebody literally pushed your ass off that ledge and said, "And go fly."
Pretty much.
Go fly.
And when I released Docket Stories 2 years ago, a lot of people locally reached out to me, and I'm doing this for them. A lot of men reached out to me. It's like, oh my God, I can't do that. And so we've had those conversations, and maybe it just needs somebody to be the first, or what? I'm not the first, but I'm just saying, to make it okay,
to lead the way,
because maybe that helps them, because most of my best conversations I've had them with people that are still bottled up.
But you remember, like, if you take yourself back to those nights when you were cutting. For me, I did cutting, and I also like to fuck with erasers. That was my thing, creating eraser burns. And how alone you felt in those moments of nobody fucking understands. Nobody gets what I'm going through and how I feel right now. And this is my only way to release. And I feel like for me, and I feel like there are going to be people who are definitely going to connect to this, but by hearing you talk about your experiences in life and what you've been through, your trauma, that person who is ready to pick up a knife and do that cut again is going to get the message of, I'm not alone. Somebody gets it. Somebody out here actually understands and was able to convey exactly what I'm feeling, but unable to express. And at the end of the day, if anybody even watching this episode right now, if you're connecting to, this conversation,
just keep trying. Keep trying.
I feel like I've done my job. Hit the inbox. Where can people find you?
TikTok is what's booming right now for me.
All right. So what's your TikTok? What's your TikTok handle?
Figz, Figgz official, and all my social media's on that.
Okay.
So not even Facebook. Yeah, you can find me there. Facebook also, Figz.
Figz, Figgz.
Or Edwin Figz, you can find me there.
Okay.
So I'm willing to talk to anybody, and
we're gonna drop
any
all of that
suggestions.
down into the comments. You guys will be able to see it. I'm gonna make sure you're obviously you're gonna be tuned into this episode when it drops. So I'll make sure that you're live there as well. Just drop all the tags. We're gonna have them for you guys.
I really want people to hear the song, because it didn't get as much traction as I wanted it to because of COVID, and I didn't want to push it either. Like,
we'll
I promote it because
we'll throw that. Yes, we ain't got a problem with that.
It was already a down, but I want people to understand it and see the message, because I'm so itching to release part 2. But I want this one to do its thing first.
Okay. Hey Coco, can we drop that link? If I tell the people that we have a link, can we drop that link? All right, Coco says that we can drop the link. So you guys, you'll see it going across right now. There's a link to the song, so you guys can actually hear it for yourselves to really catch that vibe and catch that wave, okay?
I gotta shout somebody out real quick.
Do it. What's up?
Kamal Lowens, Camouflage.
Yeah,
Camouflage.
Cam.
He's on the song.
Okay.
And he heard this when we were going to the studio. I asked him, come to the studio with me so you can coach me. I'm not trying to be an artist. I'm not trying to be a singer, nothing. So I played the song for him, and literally in about a half hour, he came up with this chorus for the song that's just, I can't even tell you how great it is. Like, they've used this chorus.
Cam's fire too, though.
What?
Like, I've heard his, yes.
He came up with this chorus that they've used in festivals when it comes to, sexual assault awareness. And it was supposed to be on this is a cool story, but it was supposed to be on a documentary for Netflix.
Yeah.
But the producer got killed, so that didn't happen. This is a couple of years ago.
Netflix, we can remake this if you want to. We can have a whole series about it.
So yeah, and there was traction. I was supposed to go to California, but that chorus, that was the magic, and he did that in like 20 minutes.
He's
on the
an
artist.
There. Yeah, he's an artist.
Recorded it, and he made the song from 1 song to 2 songs just because the chorus alone. So I want to shout him out because that's the magic right there. That chorus.
Shout outs to Cam.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Cam. He's a dope individual. I'm trying to get him to come on, and I had a oh shit, sorry. I had him send me some stuff, and I there was a particular song that I absolutely loved that he did, and I wanted him to come on and perform it. And I'm not always open to every artist. I don't want you to come up here talking about how you were slinging drugs and all that shit.
Yeah.
Woody woody woo. Like, my show, we talk about relationships, intimacy, and sex. You know what I'm saying? But this one song that he had, it was absolute fire, and it related and everything. So Cam, when you see this, I'm ready. I'm waiting. I'm ready and I'm waiting. And thank you so much for, helping Edwin on his journey. It's such a real topic, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that a lot. So,
thanks for coming.
Anytime.
I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. You guys know where to find me. Unsexed _ the show on Instagram, Unsexed on YouTube, Unsexed on Facebook. And until next time, guys, keep it classy, sassy, and a little smart assy. See y'all next time.